Good morning guys, how are you all? It is a weekend, it's a Saturday, that is generally as today a vlog day. Today we're on kind of an adventure. The idea is we come to an area, I've not been here, well I've not been this area here at all, but we're adjacent to somewhere that I frequented probably last time was over 30 years ago. If we find it, it's kind of on my Urbex's bucket list. There's certain things that people who do Urbex really want to find, be that for myself it would be an abandoned theme park. I know there is one in the UK, or maybe two. There are things that people do, they go into houses, they go into hotels, etc., that have been abandoned for many years. This one for me is one of my ones I've always looked in to try and find, which is a car graveyard in the woods. Now where we are, I've seen people who've gone out for walks and they've taken photographs and they've seen a handful of vehicles. That's all it takes to be a graveyard, and we're going to go and try that, try and find it. Along with that, there is an abandoned pet cemetery allegedly, so we'll try and look for that also. Anyway guys, come join us. Reminds us of the time of the year we're at. We have a Christmas tree in the woods. I dare say there's probably a plantation of them about somewhere. This place is getting denser and denser by the minute. I believe there's a possibility that we found them. What they are, who knows, but we'll certainly go and have a look. Not sure what that is that's making that noise. Obviously some sort of bird type creature, but this area is strewn with badgers, foxes, stoats, etc. Nothing really out here that could cause you a problem apart from perhaps an adder, but I can see we're coming up on definitely one of the vehicles now. This is not actually what I was looking for. The vehicles I was looking for are 1950s, possibly early 1960s. That's a lot more modern. Okay, it's an interesting find, but it's the element of something that's been abandoned here longer than I've been in existence. So I'm 51, and if you've got a vehicle that goes back to the 50s, 60s, I find that fascinating. That's just the vehicle that's been dumped up here, I don't know, in the last decade or so. It's certainly a find that some people out there will find interesting, but this is just one of them stolen vehicles that's been brought up here and possibly torched. Engine's been stripped, but that's far too modern for my liking, unfortunately. There is obviously some sort of history involved in these vehicles. What they were doing up here, who knows? My view on it was simple. I believed there was possibly a story behind it. These vehicles that I was looking for being late 50s, early 60s. The area that we're in at the time, there was no M1, so your main road would have been your A5, which is probably about maybe half a mile in that direction. Now my view was, why would you have vehicles that was predominantly what I believe could have been an old taxi and a couple of vans? And I come to the conclusion, possibly wrong, possibly romanticising, and then thoughts going through your head, which I suppose a lot of people would do, is with the area being close proximity to where the Great Train Robbery happened, is that something similar happened with someone doing a robbery involving a couple of vans, etc. Maybe they brought them into the woods, abandoned them, got into other vehicles and disappeared from there. But finding that more modern van back there seems to suggest that it is a place where in the past people have driven vehicles up here and dumped and abandoned them. But I don't know, I'm hopeful. I just wanted to see them because they're quite unique. They're really, really old. But anyway, let's continue. Another wheel, so it could be right on what I was saying in the second incident, that it might just be a dumping ground. I've seen this in many of the guys' photos from around here. This is called King's Lake, I believe. So essentially the area I want to sort of walk is up and over that direction. That's if I can find this graveyard or the cemetery. It seems to be one of them long daunting tasks at the moment that seems to be leading to nowhere. I did find that van, and there's certainly pictures from this area, so people have found them. I've been searching for about an hour and a half now. Second on our list of Urbex finds was this Urbex barn I was looking for, or shelter, or whatever it is, lookout, bird lookout possibly. But I've stumbled across this. I haven't looked for it. I've just fallen arse over to it about 200 meters back there, and this is I'd guess so, a bird lookout, looking at the little bit at the top there. Obviously seen better days. Graffiti to heck, that's probably asbestos. Yeah. Floor rotten as a pear. People obviously drunk beer in here, etc. Yeah, it could be a bird lookout. That might have been a desk at some point where people would have wrote down what they've seen. But obviously this has been used by someone to have a drink or two. Still a quirky find. So this has been here for a good few decades. Rotten to the core now. So I weren't lying. There was stuff in these woods. I'm getting too old for this. Something else in the abandonedness. Some sort of old pipe tunnel. Possibly an old shelter. Another wheel off a trailer over there. Still haven't seen these cars. It's getting really frustrating, but it's been a good walk. Let's see if I can walk through this. That's how big it is. I can actually get through, although it moves with me. There are two stories associated with me and where we basically are now. I'll start with the second one. This would happen about 1990, I believe. My dad brought myself and my best mate Mark up here, and the idea was he brought us up here to find a hide for us, because this was the start of the first Gulf War with Saddam Hussein. Now everyone believed at the time the old weapons of mass destruction and whatever, My father didn't want us being attacked by some sort of dodgy chemicals for a war that had nothing to do with us. So his idea was to come out here, find a hide for us, and basically keep us up here, supply us with food, drink, whatever, for as long as it took, because it would have got to a point, it never did, but you got people that were obviously out there fighting with our armed forces, but it would have got to a point, if it would have got proper nasty, that they would have started doing enlistments, and I was at the enlistment age and so was my best mate. So to keep us away from that, they decided to hide us up here, because as you can tell, you're up here, nobody knows you're here. So the thought was there. Anyway, it was one of them, everything was one in the air pretty much. We had air superiority and it didn't take long for us to conquest it, so it was a case of job done. The second part of my history up here will be pretty much in this general area here. This is an area where back in possibly 86, 87, maybe even 88, I would have frequented this area with my dirt bike. This is where I'd come out to practice before going to race meetings. Made a track up round here, loop round. It's long gone, you'd not even see where the trail is now. But I would race around here. My dad would follow me about. I think one of my sister's boyfriends at the time, he was also a racer, and he would come up here with us. But we would come up here sometimes in the early evening, at the weekends as well, and slowly make our way along like a bridle path, get up onto the top of the hill, blast the bikes around constantly. And yeah, it's part of my history. I would then go on to be, this is statistic, I've got things to back this up, I would go on to be the best 125cc motocross racer in certainly Bletchley, and possibly, not 100% sure, but I believe Milton Keynes. A couple of riders I knew of the time that I believe in, I'm stating I was the best rider, were on different cc bikes. They were on 250s and 500s. I knew all the club members, and it's just by pure luck the club secretary of the Luton Motocross Club found a trophy from a championship season from 1994. I think, yeah, 1994 I believe, and I finished 12th in the championship. And so I can certainly claim that I was the best motocross rider in the area, because I knew where the other riders lived. They lived the likes of Toddington, Leighton Buzzard, Bedford, Salisbury, etc. So as far as that goes, I was the best 125cc motocross rider in Milton Keynes in 1994. Happy days. That there is the photo taken of the time, me on my CR125. It's a 1985 bike, so possibly 86, possibly 87. And as I said, that was taken pretty much around here. Yep, for sure I'm disappointed that we didn't find the car graveyard or the abandoned pet cemetery. I could have carried on looking for hours. I think I was in the general area with the cemetery, because the pictures I've seen that people have posted online when they've gone for a walk here throughout different times of the year, they've shown that abandoned bird look cabin that I come across, and the metal tubular type thing, whatever that was, a bit of old pipe, a bit of an old pipeline, whatever it was that I walked through. They were on their photographs. I think that's the general vicinity. Yeah, certainly disappointing I didn't find it. I could have carried on walking, but I've been up here for 2.5, 3 hours. As for the cars, the abandoned cars, I did find the van, but it wasn't of the ilk, the era I was looking for. There are certainly other vehicles up here, and the ones I wanted to find are from the late 50s, early 60s, so they had a better shape to them and they were really rusty. And yeah, perhaps it's just something that there are urbexes out there that would find them in this area. Maybe I'll come and visit again, because the walk's been generally pleasant, although boggy under feet. And for those of you who wanted to find this area, you want to go to the Stockwood Park area of Rushmere County Park, and across the road from that, if you look on the map, you've got the A5 in the background and the Flying Fox public house. You have an area which we are in called Randmere Heath. So if you look on that, look on the Randmere Heath car park, look actually close in, you'll see a bit that says Pet Cemetery. I walked around that general area. I certainly didn't find them, but I know they're there somewhere. And the vehicles are out there, densely hidden in the woods somewhere. So good luck to you guys if you find them, that's for sure. This is the actual area where you will find the vehicles if you look hard enough and for long enough. It's Kingswood and Rushmere. In amongst that lot, there are vehicles that have been abandoned here since the late 50s, early 1960s. And with that, guys, that is the end of today's vlog. I guess you can put it down to a fail. It's certainly not the first time I've had a fail doing Urbex, but it's been an interesting walk. I know the general area. I may try it again, may leave it for someone else to turn around and do a vlog themselves and say, haha, I found them. But people have found them here in the past, I certainly didn't. And with that, enjoy the rest of your weekend. I am absolutely knackered. I did fall over the once, maybe the twice. Is it on my elbow? Dirty elbow, dirty knee. But there you go. All in the fun of YouTube and Urbex. Anyway, guys, enjoy the rest of your weekend. I'll see you in the movies. Bye for now. I will, for those of you who are interested, put up the pictures of what you can find up here, which I unfortunately didn't, but there you go.